Today is the first day of school for our favorite hero. Although looking at his face nobody would guess it, he still thinks that being at school will do him no good, and that it would be better to go train to become stronger. Goku murmured to himself that maybe he should leave now while he still could. At that very moment, the doorbell of his house rang, so he leaned out of his bedroom window to see who it was. It was Ria's. Goku said with frustration that it seemed she had already guessed he would try to escape. He thought that in the few days they had known each other, Ria's was already able to read how the Saiyan thought. Right at that moment, he leaned out the window to tell her he would be down right away. Ria's gave him a smile as if she had just won a contest. Goku looked at her with one eyebrow raised, and finally sighed in defeat. Once they were on their way to school, Ria's looked at Goku, who wore an expression of annoyance. With a smile she told him to stop making that face, because he would see how much he would end up enjoying it. Whatever you say, he answered with no enthusiasm at all. It will be a good experience for you, and along the way you will gain something you are missing, said the redhead, still smiling on her beautiful face. And what would that be? Goku asked curiously. Common sense, and you will also learn about society. This was something Ria's had learned about Goku during the days she had spent with him. The young man knew nothing, and had no common sense, because he was only interested in fighting and training. Now that you mention it, back in my old world people used to tell me that a lot, Goku answered, now thinking that maybe learning a little would not be so bad. That is the spirit, Goku, it never hurts to have more knowledge, Riaz said, now smiling from ear to ear while holding onto his arm. Oh Riaz, you are being very bold this morning. That voice belonged to Akino, who was waiting for Riaz, and Goku along with Kiba and Kaneko, who looked at Riaz with envy. Akino, what are you saying? Do not make me look like some kind of flirt, Riaz said, turning red as a tomato, and letting go of Goku's arm, faster than the wind. Unfair, Kaneko said, staring seriously at Riaz. Are you too, Kaneko? She said, puffing out her cheeks, which made Goku smile. It looks like you have your hands full, Goku, Kiba said, putting a hand on the Saiyan's shoulder, which left him not understanding anything at all. Alright, that is enough teasing me, let us get moving, or we will be late, Riaz said, trying to get them to drop the subject and leave her alone. Once at school, Goku was led to his new classroom, where he was told to wait outside until he was called. Good morning everyone, today I have some news for you. We will have a new student starting today, the teacher told the class, and everyone began to murmur. Come on in, you may enter, the teacher called. And all the students kept their eyes on the door as it opened and our hero walked in. Please introduce yourself, the teacher said. Hello, I am Son Goku, but you can just call me Goku. Nice to meet you, he said, making his well-known hand wave and showing his famous smile. At that moment a silence fell over the classroom, only for it to explode a second later into shouts and groans. You can probably imagine which ones came from whom. The girls could not believe what they were seeing, because it did not seem possible that his uniform could hold on that body, and on top of that he was very handsome. The boys who saw him seethed with jealousy like dogs, but that was not the end of it, because an unexpected incident was about to happen. Goku, please take this open seat so we can begin class, the teacher told him, pointing to a seat in the front row. Understood, the Saiyan said simply, and went to sit down. But the moment he lowered himself into the seat, a ripping sound was heard in the classroom. Everyone looked toward the sound, and realized it was Goku's jacket and shirt, which could not hold any longer and tore apart. I knew it would not hold up, Goku said, taking off the torn jacket and shirt and remaining only in a white tank top that showed off his chest and muscular arms. That was the cue for the girls to start screaming and rushing toward him, touching his arms and chest. Some of them fainted from severe nosebleeds and were behaving in an overly excited frenzy. Goku, please step out to the teacher's lounge to see if they can find you something to cover up, the teacher said, sending Goku out so the girls could calm down. Alright, I will be right back, Goku said, moving away as quickly as he could from the overly excited girls. Women can end up being more dangerous than any powerful enemy, Goku thought with a drop of sweat on his forehead after witnessing what had just happened. The hours passed, and at lunchtime Goku went to the cafeteria as Riaz had told him so he could eat. He was now wearing a sweatshirt borrowed from an overweight teacher. Once in the cafeteria he was the first to arrive, so he went up to the lunch lady and ordered everything on the menu, leaving the woman stunned. When the students began to arrive and came up to order food, the lady told them everything was sold out. All the students were shocked and asked how that could have happened, so the lady pointed at Goku, who was devouring the food as if the world were about to end. The furious and hungry students approached Goku intending to take the food away from him, but they made a mistake, a very serious mistake, and that was trying to take food away from a Saiyan. This caused Goku to release a wave of bloodlust so intense that his eyes flickered between black and emerald and his hair began to rise. What happened next was inevitable. Every student in the cafeteria fainted, along with a few from nearby areas, and they all ended up on the floor with some of them even foaming at the mouth. Rias and Akino were headed to the cafeteria to see how Goku was doing when they suddenly felt the bloodlust which made their legs tremble. They ran quickly to see what had happened, but the closer they got to the cafeteria, the more unconscious students they saw being carried out by teachers and other students. It looked like a battlefield. When they finally entered the cafeteria, they found a happy Goku eating that inhuman amount of food as if nothing at all had happened. "Goku, what happened here?" Rias said, nervous and frightened. "Whoa," that Goku said as if it were nothing. "They tried to touch my food, so I just gave them a scare." "That was a scare?" Akino replied, surprised by the black-haired boy's words. "Exactly, since it is the first day it was only a warning. But if they try it again, I will eliminate them," Goku said now with a serious look. "And that was all just over food," Rias said, stunned by what Goku had said. "There are 2 things you should never try with a Saiyan," he told them now, to prevent future problems. "First, never touch a Saiyan's food, and second, never interfere in a Saiyan's fight." "So food comes before fighting," Rias said. And Goku answered, "Of course, food is sacred," in a proud tone, which made Akino laugh, and Rias sigh. It must be said that the incident turned the school into a small field hospital, because the infirmary was full, and several classrooms had to be used to lay down all the students who had fainted. That is how Goku's school life began. After that incident, nobody dared touch his food again. As the days went by, Goku quickly began adjusting to school life. Sometimes you could see him talking very closely with Rias and Akino. Other times he ate outside with Kaneko. And people were surprised to see the girl who never interacted with anyone, especially not with men, smiling, and even sharing her sweets with Goku. When Goku walked through the halls chatting with Kiba, you could only see a trail of fainted girls, and others with massive nosebleeds after seeing the 2 school idols walking together talking like friends. One day, while walking through the halls, a young woman called out to him, "Excuse me, son, Goku," so he stopped to see who it was. She had short black hair with red framed glasses and violet eyes with a slim but attractive figure, and she was beautiful. She was the student council president Sona Citri. "She has the same kind of power as Rias," Goku thought as he studied the young woman. "Is something wrong?" the Saiyan asked. "I do not sense anything from him," Sona thought as she looked seriously at the warrior. "Let me introduce myself. I am Sona Citri, and I am a friend of Rias," she said by way of introduction. "That is why I felt you were not human," Goku said, which surprised Sona. "How did you know?" "Did Rias tell you about me?" she asked, confused. "Not at all, I simply felt your energy. It is an ability I have," the Saiyan answered, surprising Sona. "Wow, that is an impressive ability. But I would like to ask you something if you do not mind," Sona said. "Go ahead, ask away," Goku answered with a smile, which made Sona blush. While the rumors about his smile are true, it really is beautiful and innocent, the young woman thought. "Why can I not sense any power from you at all?" Sona asked. "Oh, that, well, you see, I can fully control my power, and I normally keep it suppressed," the Saiyan said, which made Sona raise an eyebrow. "Is that even possible? And if it is true, could you show me a little of your power, please?" she said, skeptical of Goku's words. "All right, you do not seem like a bad person. And since you say you are a friend of Rias, I will show you, watch." And with that he began to raise his ki. Being so close, Sona felt it firsthand, which made her tremble. At that instant Rias and the others appeared, sensing that Goku had raised his power, thinking there was an enemy. They found Sona on the ground with her legs bent and trembling from what she had just witnessed. "Are you all right?" Goku asked with concern as he held out a hand to help her stand. But since her legs were still weak, she had to steady herself against Goku's chest, which did not go unnoticed by the young woman who kept touching it. When she looked up and met his eyes, she blushed so hard it was almost comical. But something pulled her out of her little paradise. Ahem! Rias coughed while giving her best friend and the Saiyan a dark look, while Akino just laughed. "Fu," but her aura said the opposite, and Kaneko simply said, "Opportunist," with eyes as cold as ice. This was an accident, Rias. It was not my intention. I am sorry, Goku," she said, pulling away, all flustered with a face as red as a traffic light. Do not worry about it, Sona, it is fine," Goku said, laughing carefree. "Then could someone explain to me why Goku's power spiked, and why Sona is hugging him?" Rias said with an unfriendly look, while the other 2 girls nodded, waiting for an explanation. "Relax, Rias, what happened was that Sona asked me to show her a bit of my power, and being so close she was affected. Since her legs went weak, she was leaning on me for support," Goku explained to the girls. "Is that right, Sona?" Rias asked her friend. "Yes, Rias, I am sorry about that, but I wanted to know how strong your new pawn really was, and that turned out to be a mistake," she told her crimson-haired friend. "But I never expected his power to be this great. You really hit the jackpot, Rias. Sona, you should know that was not even all of his power," Rias told her friend, while the others nodded, which left Sona wide-eyed with her mouth hanging open. The day we met I asked him to show me his power, but it was so great that I had to stop him. And that was with him only showing me 10%. Then what did you show me, Goku? She asked the Saiyan, who answered with a smile, about 1% or so. Sona could not believe that was only 1%. If this young man ever decided to release everything, what would happen to the world? Well, son Goku, it was a pleasure. I hope we get along well, Sona said, tired from all the thinking, and shaking the Saiyan's hand. Likewise, Sona, he said with his usual smile, shaking her hand, and making her blush. With that, each of them headed off to their own classrooms to continue with the day. It had already been 2 weeks since Goku started school, and now he actually enjoyed attending, because he was learning things he never learned in his own world due to all his adventures. But that was not the only thing he discovered, because he began to feel something slowly awakening inside him. It was because of the evil pieces which were starting to draw out his inner Saiyan. Things like feeling jealous whenever some idiot got close to Kaneko Rias, or Akino, were new feelings he never felt even when he was married to his wife. One morning on his way to school, a girl suddenly stepped out from around a corner, and spoke to him. You are son Goku, right? She was a beautiful girl with black hair, that reached down to her waist, coffee-colored eyes, and a body and face that had nothing to envy in Rias or Akino. This energy coming from this girl is similar to one of the two Akino has, Goku thought as he studied the young woman. That is me. Have we met? He asked, even though he already knew it was impossible that he knew her. No, this is the first time, but I see you every morning on your way to school, and that made me interested in you, she said, blushing sweetly, while fidgeting, which made Goku raise an eyebrow. And do you have a name? Goku asked to change the subject. Oh, sorry, yes, my name is Amano Yuma, she said sweetly. Nice to meet you, Yuma. So what is the reason you spoke to me? Goku asked the girl. I like you, Goku. Would you go on a date with me on Sunday? Yuma asked, lowering her head. I want to know the real reason she approached me. But if I ask now, she probably will not tell the truth. I will go out with her on Sunday, and let us see if we can get her real reason for approaching me out of her, the Saiyan planned in his mind. Alright, I will go out with you. Thank you, we will meet at the station on Sunday. And with a smile she hurried off, waving her hand as she disappeared from Gaka's sight. He stayed in the same spot, lost in thought, with a hand on his chin so much so that he did not even notice several people approaching him from behind. At that moment he received a kick which snapped him out of his thoughts, and he spun around quickly to find a jealous-looking Kaneko with puffed-out cheeks and clenched fists. Goku senpai, you womanizer. Those words from the jealous girl hurt him more than any punch he could ever take from Vegeta or Beerus. You have got it wrong, Kaneko, he said in a pained voice. Whoa, so now you are going to deny that you were happily talking to a girl who walked off looking very pleased? This was Rias, who had a look that could strike down a god. There is an explanation for all of this, Rias, Goku said, sweating buckets under Rias' deadly glare. Fu. And what is that explanation, Goku? That was Akino, who had a smile on her face that fooled nobody since her aura was darker than the night. You see, that girl came up to me to ask me on a date and I said yes. But that was as far as he got, because at that instant the bloodlust coming from the three girls would have frightened even Vegeta himself. Adate, the three of them said in unison. And that was it. They began chasing Goku in a comical scene, while he ran for his life, dodging the attacks of the three girls, while Kiba could only cheer him on so he would not end up dead. Once it was over, and with Goku thoroughly roughed up from the girls' attacks, he finished explaining to them his reasons for agreeing to go out with her. I see it as a good plan, but it could be dangerous, Rias said, worried about Goku, while Kaneko, Akino, and Kiba nodded in agreement. Thanks for worrying, guys, but nothing is going to happen, Goku said, knowing that Yuma's power was weaker than Akino's. What if we follow you closely just in case, Akino said. But Goku shook his head. There is no need, I do not want a careless slip to give you away and make her suspicious, Goku answered while petting the black-haired girl's head, which she did not seem to mind at all. Take this, it is a calling paper, use it if anything happens. Goku took the paper. You are overreacting, Rias, he told her, to which the redhead replied, I know you are strong, but you never know. With that said, everyone went home. It was finally Sunday, and Goku waited at the station for Yuma. He wore a fitted shirt and loose pants for better movement, along with a pair of sneakers. When she arrived, she wore a black and white two-piece dress that highlighted her figure. Did you wait long? Yuma asked innocently. Not at all, I just got here myself, Goku told the young woman, who gave him a smile. So where do you want to go? Goku asked, having no idea at all about these kinds of things. Let us go everywhere we possibly can, she said, taking Gaka's arm and setting off to walk. The date went quite well for the two of them. They went to the movies, went shopping, visited the arcade, and went out to eat, which left a strong impression on the girl after seeing how much the Saiyan could eat. Once they finished eating, the sun was already setting, and as they walked some men tried to bother her, But they ran off the moment they felt the science stare which seemed to say this woman is mine, try something, and you will die. Yuma was surprised by Goku's possessiveness. Why did you do that, Goku, she asked, confused. Because you are beautiful, and I cannot let other guys cross the line while you are with me, he said with a smile. In the end all men are the same, they only care about looks, she thought, disappointed remembering that people always saw her only for her appearance, and never tried to get to know who she really was as a person. Goku, can we go to that park for a moment, Yuma said, having made up her mind about something, and Goku agreed, so they went to the park. Night had fallen, and the park lamps were beginning to light up as the two of them walked through it. Yuma kept falling further and further behind, and when she saw her chance she changed her appearance. She grew taller, her chest grew larger, and her body was now wrapped in a rather revealing outfit along with a pair of black wings. She formed a spear of light in her hand, ready to run our hero through when he suddenly spoke. Was this your own decision, or were you ordered to do it, Goku said, without turning around, surprising Yuma. How did you know, she asked, and Goku answered still without turning to face her. Since the day we met I knew you approached me for some reason, that is why I agreed to go out with you so I could find out what it was about. He spoke in a serious voice, still not turning to look at her as she held the spear of light. So then are you going to attack me, or not? She was confused because if he had known from the beginning, why had he done nothing? I want to ask you something, Yuma, did you actually enjoy today, or was it all just an act, Goku asked, still not looking at the girl's face. She thought about it and realized it really had not been a bad day. They did a lot of things, went to a lot of places she chose without a single complaint, and he never looked at her like a piece of meat, but like just another girl, always looking straight into her eyes, without any lust, and she liked that. I had a lot of fun, but if I disobey my orders they will kill me, she said with fear in her voice. At first the order was just to watch you, but then someone threatened me that I had to kill you, or I would be the one to die. Now with tears in her eyes the fallen angel dropped to her knees on the ground, unable to bear it any longer. I do not want to kill you, she said between sobs. But right at that moment as Goku was about to comfort her, a spear of light shot straight toward her. She was caught completely off guard, and thinking she could not dodge it in time, believed this was the end. I do not want to die yet, there is still so much I want to tell Goku, she thought. But that spear of light never reached her. When she opened her eyes all she could see was a broad back that had placed itself in front of her like a shield, an impenetrable shield. Goku, Yuma shouted in worry. But her worry was unnecessary when she saw that he was holding the spear of light in his hand wrapped in ki. Amazing, he caught it with his bare hand even though it is a demon weapon, she said, which made Goku laugh. This is nothing, I just coated my hand in ki so the light would not hurt me, he said, giving the girl a smile, which made her blush. But quickly she looked up, and there stood a man in a hat and a trench coat standing on top of a lamp post. You useless piece of trash, I knew it was a mistake to give you a job like this, the man said in an accusing voice toward the girl. Do you know him, Yuma? Goku said, pointing at the man while looking serious. He is my boss, he was the one who ordered me to kill you, his name is Danasik, she said, hiding behind Goku. Ha ha ha, boy, did you know she fooled you the whole time, and that her real name is not Amano, Yuma, but Riener, Danasik said accusingly, pointing at Riener. Oh, so your name is Riener, I like that better than Yuma, he said, giving Riener a full-face smile which left her completely red. Are you two ignoring me, you pieces of trash? The winged man said, now fully angry over the sweet moment. Just shut your mouth already, Goku said, now angry, and shattering the spear the man was holding, because he had made Riener cry again with his malicious words. He pulled Riener a little further away from himself, and told her with a calming smile, wait a second, I will be right back. She nodded, and in the blink of an eye he vanished from the sight of the winged beings. Where in the world did he go? Danasik spat while forming a spear of light in his hand, and rising into the air, but it did him no good, because Goku appeared behind him and clasping his hands together brought them down on the fallen angel's back with a sound of something breaking, sending him crashing into the ground, and creating a small crater. The fallen angel dragged himself along the ground trying to climb out of the crater, but his legs would not respond, because Goku's blow had shattered his spine. Damn it, I cannot die yet, the fallen angel said, but right as he was about to climb out of the crater, Goku stood in front of him, looking at him as if he were nothing but trash. You filthy human, how dare you look at me like that? At the great Danasik, the fallen angel growled, to which Goku, with a look colder than ice, told him, I could not care less who or what you are. You made Riener cry, and that is all I need to eliminate you, and by the way, I am not human, I am a Saiyan, he said as if it were his final word. A Saiyan, those were his last words before Goku reached out his hand and turned him to dust. Riener watched everything that had happened in front of her in disbelief, still not quite believing that she was finally free. Is it all over? Am I free? The young fallen angel thought, looking at Goku with the eyes of a woman completely in love. He did it for me, she told herself, giggling. Alright, now that this is done, let us move on to the next phase, Goku said to Rihanna as he walked toward her. Next phase, she said, confused. We are going to go see your boss, the one who ordered you to spy on me, Goku told the fallen angel, whose eyes went wide. And that is how they prepared to go visit one of the leaders of the three factions, who would never have expected the very person he ordered watched to show up right in front of him. Our hero walked toward Rihanna, who felt like she was in heaven after Goku protected her from her former boss DxD by eliminating him. But this was not the end of it, because Goku intended to go pay a visit to the leader of the fallen angels. Rihanna, come here, we are going to go talk to your superior, he said, with a nod of his head for the fallen angel to come closer. But how do you even plan to get there? You do not even know where it is, she asked, confused. That is not a problem, come here quickly. And taking hold of Rihanna's waist, which made her heart race, placing 2 fingers on his forehead, he concentrated to sense the strongest energy that would be similar to Rihanna's, and quickly he felt it. They teleported to pay a not so courteous visit to the fallen angels, who would never have expected the Saiyan even in their wildest dreams. At Grigori, in an office, sat the former governor of the fallen angels, a man of medium height, with black hair in the back, and blonde hair in the front, violet eyes, and wearing a brown kimono. In his office stood a young man with silver hair, leaning against the wall. It has been days since I received any report on the Mao sisters' new pawn, Azazel said, worried that his spy might have been discovered. Look at you enjoying these kinds of games, Azazel. One day you are going to regret doing things this way, the young man scolded him, not liking the way the former governor operated. Come now, do not be like that. If what we sensed was real, then approaching him directly would be suicide, Azazel answered, remembering 2 weeks earlier when he felt a power that surpassed all 3 factions coming from Koa Academy. I still think you are exaggerating. And if that boy really is that powerful, then But that was as far as he got, because, at that very moment, the boy who was the subject of their surveillance appeared right in front of them, along with the fallen angel who was supposed to be watching him. The 2 of them were left speechless, because they could not understand how he appeared suddenly in the room without anyone noticing or sensing a thing. As Goku studied the 2 men in the room, he thought the one with the beard seems to be the leader, but the one with silver hair also seems strong, with a strength similar to mine back when I entered the World Tournament for the 2nd time. Rihanna, could you explain to me why you are with him? Azazel asked Rainare once he recovered from his shock. She, who was hiding behind Goku holding onto his arm, began to tremble and tightened her grip on Goku's arm the moment she heard Azazel, because she knew what happened to traitors. Goku noticed Rihanna trembling and on the verge of tears and began to grow angry. Why did Rihanna have to keep suffering when she was not at fault for anything? Who do these guys think they are? These thoughts ran through his mind, and at that moment he began to raise his power. Hey, you are the leader here, right? Goku said in a cold tone of voice. Hey, you know it is rude to enter places without permission, the silver-haired boy said. And who are you? Goku said, still not looking at the boy. Should you not introduce yourself first before asking someone else's name? He said in an arrogant tone. But I will tell you as a favor, my name is Vali. Good for you, Goku answered dryly, still paying no attention to Vali, which annoyed him. Looks like I am going to have to teach you a couple of things. He never finished his words, because the moment he approached Goku aggressively, Goku reached out his hand and fired off a burst of ki that sent Vali slamming into the wall, leaving him stuck there in a pose like an Egyptian hieroglyph. Impressive, he knocked out Vali in an instant, Azazel said, surprised by Goku's power. With that annoying guy out of the way, we can talk, Goku said, giving Azazel an even more dangerous look which sent a chill down his entire body. Alright, but I still do not know why you are so angry, Azazel said to Goku, who kept staring at him seriously. Was it you who sent the man in the trench coat to kill Rihanna? Goku asked. The man in the trench coat kill Rihanna? I do not understand what you are talking about, Azazel said, confused by the Saiyan's questions. He is talking about Donasek, Azazel-sama. He told me to kill Goku, saying it was your order. And then he tried to kill me when I did not carry it out, Rihanna answered, still speaking from behind Goku. I never gave such an order. The only order I gave you was to watch closely, not to kill him, Azazel answered, not understanding why Donasek would do such a thing. Goku looked into his eyes, searching for any lies or deceit, but found no falsehood in them, or in his words. I believe you. I do not sense any lies in your eyes or your words, Goku answered, which made Azazel relax a little. Do not worry, I promise I will punish Donasek for what he did, Azazel said, trying to ease the tension. Oh, do not worry about that, that guy is already dead, Goku replied, as if it were nothing. You eliminated Donasek, Azazel said in surprise. Was I not supposed to eliminate him? Goku asked. No, not at all, but I am surprised you took him out, and from what I can see you do not have a single scratch on you. Azazel looked over the Saiyan, who was completely clean without even a small scratch. Trash like that would not even be able to dirty my clothes, Goku answered. Well then it looks like everything is cleared up now, right? Azazel said, hoping this would not escalate any further over a misunderstanding. At that moment a woman with long purple hair and a large chest walked in nervously. Azazel-sama, I sense an enormous power coming from here, the beautiful woman said. But once she got a good look she saw a young man with wild black hair, who was handsome with a body bodybuilders would envy, and it was love at first sight. Oh Penemu, calm down, the power you are sensing belongs to this young man named Son Goku, Azazel said, pointing him out with his hand. Goku looked at the woman and gave her his signature smile, which made her turn red, like a stop sign, and drew a smile from Azazel and jealousy from Rear, who did not like the way Penemu was looking at Goku. So, then if everything is settled, I would like for us to get along, Son Goku. And Reiner, if you want to come back you are welcome to, Azazel said with a smile, holding out his hand to Goku. I hope so, the Saiyan said, shaking Azazel's hand. But suddenly he tightened his grip on the fallen angel and said, Reiner, if you do not want to come back here you can come live with me instead. Will I really not be a burden to you, she said, trembling with happiness. Never, Goku answered her with a smile and a thumbs up. And at that instant the fallen angel leapt into the Saiyan's arms with tears of joy repeating over and over again thank you, which made Penemu extremely jealous as she watched with narrowed eyes, comically biting down on a handkerchief. Whoa, I almost forgot, Goku said. And at that instant he raised his power to an exaggerated degree, making all of Grigori shake with his hair fluttering in the air. He looked at Azazel and said, if by any chance anyone here tries to do anything to Reiner, no matter how small, even a single scratch, I promise you I will wipe every one of you out so completely there will not even be dust left of you. Remember, she belongs to me now, and nobody takes what belongs to a Saiyan, is that clear? At that instant Azazel could faintly notice Gaka's hair flicker from black to gold, and his eyes shift from black to emerald, while Reiner could only move her hands from cheek to cheek, telling herself, he said I belong to him, he. Needless to say the former governor nodded quickly out of fear, while Reiner and Penemu were both weak in the knees from how powerful Goku looked, and with that they left, making the pressure disappear, and leaving Azazel feeling exhausted just from that killing intent that would drive anyone mad. What in the world are you, Son Goku? Azazel thought, still full of doubts about the warrior. At that moment Vali, who had been knocked out until then, came to and looked around in confusion, not knowing what had happened. Azazel, where did that guy go? He is going to pay for this, the silver-haired boy said furiously over the way he had been defeated. Leave it alone, Vali, if you approach him again I am sure he will finish you off this time, Azazel told the young man, remembering Gaka's power. That power does not belong to this world, not even all three factions together could put up a decent fight against him, and we would all end up dead. Is he really that strong? Vali said, unable to believe someone like that could exist. I can confirm it, Vali, a voice spoke from the gauntlet that suddenly appeared on Vala's hand. Are you sure about that, Albion? Vali asked the voice from the gauntlet. I can assure you not even the red one, and I at our very best could give him a decent battle, Albion answered, having witnessed everything while Vali was unconscious. Now that is interesting. If it is true, then we just need to get stronger so we can challenge him, Vali said, laughing, thinking that his boredom had finally come to an end thanks to the spiky-haired boy. Goku and Reiner arrived at Gaka's house thanks to his teleportation, and walked inside only to find every member of the Occult Research Club waiting for Goku inside the house. Whoa, hey guys, what are you doing here? Goku asked, confused, not understanding what was going on. Where have you been all this time? We were worried, but Riaz did not finish, because she noticed Reiner holding on to Gaka's arm with the smile of a woman in love. The three girls went completely blank, unable to process what they were seeing, or rather not wanting to believe that innocent Goku would bring a woman home at this hour. Suddenly, all three gave Goku smiles, but behind those smiles was nothing but fury and dark auras radiating from the girls, which made Goku feel a chill without even knowing his life was in danger, depending on what he said. Next, could you explain to us who she is, and why you are bringing her home at night? Goku, Riaz said, with a red aura outlined in black. Goku-senpai, speak, Kaneko said, cracking her knuckles. Ara, Goku-san is such a naughty boy, Fufu, Akino said with a sadistic smile, while lightning danced around her. Easy girls, I can explain everything, Goku said, stuttering from fear, while Reiner watched it all with a question mark over her head. So he proceeded to tell them everything that had happened, starting from his encounter with Donasek, the false orders given to Reiner, and the visit to Grigori. The others could not believe that he had gone straight into Grigori alone, to the point of nearly starting a war all by himself against the fallen angels, just for one renegade fallen angel. You are insane, Goku, you should have used the paper I gave you so we could have thought of another way, Rias said, sighing at how reckless the Saiyan was. If it had been me, would he have gone that far for me too? Rias thought a little sadly. Ha ha ha, relax, those guys were weaklings, Goku said, laughing and rubbing the back of his neck. Changing the subject, Rihanna, right, what do you plan to do from now on, Rias asked the fallen angel. I should be dead if it were not for Goku, who saved my life even after learning I wanted to kill him. He forgave me and saved me. He stood up to Azazel-sama just for my sake and said I was his, so from now on I will live only for him and because of him until the end of my days, she said, blushing with a smile of happiness as she looked at Goku, who returned her smile with a thumbs up. This made the girls look at Rihanna a little jealously, seeing that she had gotten ahead of them. Would you like to become part of my clan, Rihanna? Rias asked the fallen angel, which surprised her. Are you sure I am a fallen angel? You know, Rihanna asked the Gremory. That does not matter. If Goku trusts you, then I will too. What do you say? Rihanna looked at Goku, not knowing what to do, but the Saiyan simply nodded in approval. All right, if Goku says so, then I will become part of your clan, the fallen angel answered. So the ritual was carried out using a rook piece, and that is how Rihanna became part of Ria's Gremory's clan. Well, now all that is left is to find you a place to live, Rias said. But Rihanna quickly grabbed onto Gaka's arm, surprising everyone and making the girls jealous. That will not be necessary, since Goku told me I could live with him, and I could not be happier to be able to take care of him, right, Goku? She answered with a smile. That is right, that way if anyone tries to attack her again, I will be close enough to eliminate them, Goku told the girls, who did not want to accept it, but given what Goku said, there did not seem to be any danger, since he seemed to see her almost like a sister. With everything settled, everyone headed home, while Goku and Rihanna stayed behind alone and sat down to have the dinner the fallen angel had prepared. Several days passed since the incident with Rihanna, and everything was calm. Rihanna enrolled in school as a third-year student by Ria's order. Goku started getting along well with Sona, who would sometimes ask him for help with various matters. Everything was going well, but one day Rias called Goku over to tell him something. Goku, I would like you to keep a close eye on this boy. Rias showed him a photo of a young man with brown hair and eyes who looked somewhat familiar to the Saiyan. I think I know this guy. He is fairly well known as one of the 3 perverts of Kua, Goku said as he looked at the photo. I believe his name is Hyodao Issei. That is correct. It seems he is someone's target, so I would like you to keep watch over him for me, please, Rias said seriously. Do not worry, Rias, if it is for you, I will keep an eye on him. And if anything happens, I will step in, Goku answered with a smile, which Rias returned, looking at him tenderly. I know, my Goku, I know, she said, placing her hands on the Saiyan's cheeks. And with those words they said their goodbyes. And the watch over Hyodao Issei began, as he was destined to become an important part of Ria's clan.